Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about the best teacher that I had for becoming an entrepreneur and having my own business. My day job. Yeah, I know that might sound a little bit controversial, but my day job actually taught me a lot of things that I use today when I run my company. And the first one that I want to talk to you about is the networking. When I started my company, I always thought that I was about to be by myself, that I will be able to have and work with the people that I wanted and that I chose to. Maybe that I didn't have to talk a lot with people, being an introvert, and that maybe was a good thing. But having a business, you always have to talk to people, you always have to talk to customers, you always have to talk to employees. So you're always networking all the time. And in the day job, I learned a lot about doing that with people. I always have to go to meetings. I always have to meet with managers. I always have to be with directors, VPs, do presentations, and show my point of view, even though I am a highly introvert person. And I think having that opportunity in my day job forced me to be more able to communicate, I can say, for example. And those skills about communication, then I am using it today in my startup. And I use it with our employees and I use it with our customers. I have to do demos, I have to talk to them, I have to sell to them. And those communication skills that I learned in my day job, I'm actually using them now in my startup. So take advantage of that, develop those communications skills because you're gonna use it, you're gonna need it when you create your own business. For example, in one of our networking trips, I had to go to New York City with a vendor, for example, and we were in charge of a marketing project. And I needed to meet with the vendor because we were planning some strategies to release the new website and create some elements that we needed. And at that point, I learned a lot about marketing, about how a marketing agency works. But for me, it was a little bit awkward because I am an introvert person, of course. But that networking event helped out a lot because I get to know people and I get to interact with people, and those skills I can apply it also now to my business because I have to do the same thing. I have to network with vendors all the time. I have to network with customers all the time. It helps out a lot to bring those skills from my day job side to my business side. The other thing that I learned also related to communications is how to communicate with people in different levels of the organization. So if you're talking to a peer and you communicate with a peer in your day job, and that's one way, but if you talk to your manager, then you have to communicate in a different way because they're at a different level of thinking. The same idea if you communicate with a director or a VP, they are at different levels of what they need or what they are looking for. There are different skills that you're going to have to implement when you're talking with them. For example, when I talk with my VP, I always just went with a specific points of what I need and how I need his help in a specific way. If I talk to my manager, I also just outline what I was working on and where I need help. If you go to a director, different things too. And if you're communicating with a different department also, with a manager or a director from a different department, you also need to communicate with them in a different way because they are just looking for solutions and they are just looking for specific things. In my business now, when I do a presentation and I do that presentation with a manager or a director, I know what they are looking for. So I know what they need from me to make a final decision, let's say around buying our product or no. So they are looking, let's say, for specific weaknesses or specific opportunities of how they can fix their problem. And I can just go directly to those specific solutions instead of like going through maybe a full demo of how the software works. They don't need it. A director doesn't need that. They just need a specific solution. So I just go directly to them and I don't just bore them with all the other stuff. It's not needed because there's a different level with them. One example for communication in different levels is at one point I had to present to the different levels of management in my company, like managers, directors, VPs, about the benefits of using SharePoint as a project management system instead of using shared folders to store all the documents in there. So I had to prepare this presentation where I was showing them the benefits of using SharePoint, collaboration and all that, but I couldn't go right away and show them a demo of how to use SharePoint because that doesn't make any sense, okay, on how to use that application. I just had to pinpoint the actual benefits of not using shared folders and using SharePoint. Like what are the benefits? Like maybe using versioning. Like you don't have versioning using shared folders. If you use SharePoint, you have versioning. So those type of things, and then showing them like maybe if you need to recover something that you might have lost in the past, then maybe shared versioning will help you out then going directly into those benefits that will show them the actual plus of using that application to a VP instead of doing an actual demo of the application. That's how you communicate with those people, and then you can use those skills into your business, because it's the same when you are presenting to a VP or a director. You don't do a demo, you just show the benefits. This is what you're gonna gain when you buy my product, for example. The other thing that I learned from my job is something that I hated a lot when I was there, which is office politics. And office politics are everywhere, and now that you are not there, and maybe that's something that I want to avoid when building our company. But knowing office politics and navigating those politics, it has helped me out when I'm selling to customers, because I notice if that customer is high on the politics level or low on a politics level. So then I know how to navigate things. When I'm working with a customer that has high level of politics, I know what's going on. I know that a lot of people need to be satisfied, and a lot of people need to be involved in a specific decision. I know how long it's gonna take because of that, and I have an idea of how you can navigate and what tools I can give to my customers so they can able also navigate those politics inside their organization, so maybe they can buy from us. The other thing that I learned also is how an approval process works. That will help you out. Learn how finance approves something. Learn how a department approves a specific project or a specific product to buy, because that will help you out also in your startup. When you're selling, you know what people requires. What is a PO? Who needs to approve a PO? Why they need to pay by check? Why cannot pay by credit card? What all those things are going on, because it's gonna help you to sell too. So I learned all that in my company, how an approval process works, what things they take into account when approving a project, and that helps me out, like right away show the benefits of our solution and how we can get that approval be done in a faster way. So that's something that you can learn in your day job. Try to learn how that works, because you're gonna use it later on. For example, at one point in my day job, I had to learn how to get approval for a 6 figures project for launching a new website. And I learned that kind of projects takes around almost a year to get approval, because all of these stakeholders that have to be involved, all of these people, all this documentation. So for me, learning that process, I know now that when I go to my customers, and who am I dealing with? Am I dealing with a manager? Am I dealing with a director? I'm pretty sure how long it's gonna take the process. I know who needs to be in that meeting so they can make the decision to actually go ahead and buy the product from me. And those skills that I learned in my day job, now I can use them when I'm doing presentations and sales demos with our customers to get the approval faster for the software. The other thing that I learned was financial management. So how budgeting works, how you allocate budget to a specific initiative, what's important in the priorities for a budget. And that helps me out also in our startup when we are budgeting also, and when we do priorities. Like in a startup or in a company, the main thing is financials. How do you make this turn a profit? And you can learn all that in a day job. Like you can learn about cost, about wages, about fixed costs, opportunity costs, flexible costs, variable costs. Like you can learn all that in the day job, because they already know how to do it. They already done it before. So you just got to get involved a little bit in that. Just learn, just listen, because those skills are applicable to any company. All companies do financials. You're gonna need it in your own startup. So just trying to learn, and it also helps you understand your customers too, how they work and how they financial planning. For example, in financials, in my day job, I learned how to do budgeting and how to allocate specific buckets of money to, let's say, training or acquiring software. And that's one of the things that I do today in my business. For example, I know how to manage a budget. I know how cash flow works and how important that is. And all those skills, maybe I learned from my day job. So those things you can learn too. Just be aware, maybe I'm not working in finance, but in your department, there has to be a budget. Just try to be familiar, ask questions so you know how those things work, because it's gonna help you out in your business. The other thing that I learned also in my day job was sales and marketing. I'm a software engineer, but in my day job, I was in charge of providing solutions to the marketing team and the sales team. So I learned a lot about marketing, and I learned a lot about selling when I was providing service to that department. So I took the time to learn, I took the time to understand the processes, and I took time to understand where they did good and where they did not make good. So I could apply also to my business. What are the metrics? Why is it important? Why is it not important? I'm not an expert in marketing, I'm not an expert in selling, but in my day job, I was able to understand that process and why it is important. And then I think at one point I felt comfortable doing those tasks because I actually learned them from them. And I was able to implement some strategies and in my own startup and maybe implement it in a better way, something that I actually understand and why helps out in my business. For example, in sales and marketing, I was very involved on the website of the company, and that helped me out understand what leads come from, what is conversion rates, what you can do for placing a specific item on the website, and how you can do call to actions for those things, and where to put those call to actions in the website so they work better. So having that knowledge and having that skills helped me out also in my day job, because now I know about websites, leads, and how to do conversion rates and all those kind of stuff, and how important it is maybe to do content marketing or do social media, and how those can help out in your business. Those skills you can learn in your day job. All business companies now do social media, they do website. It's the same thing when you go and do your own business. The other thing that I learned was time management. I know how now what is a specific time frame that you can develop something, a specific time frame where you can launch a campaign, because I have an idea in my day job of how much time those things took. So let's say launching a website, launching a new ad campaign, how much you need to wait, how much you have to maybe allocate for a specific project. I have an idea right now because I was always involved in those kind of things in my day job. And I was not only involved in that in the dev side, in the development side, which was the department that I work on, but I tried to learn from other departments. Like I had friends in other departments and I always listened to them or ask questions so I could learn. So I always had my ears up listening to how they did things, because that will help me out on my own business in the future. Learning about how I can manage my time, how can I allocate tasks, how can I delegate things to employees. So that will help me out. For example, in time management, I know how much time a specific project is gonna take, maybe on the development side, because that was the team that I was in charge of. Like I know if we need to develop a specific feature, if we need to develop a specific element, I know how much time it's gonna take. I know that it's not going to take 3 days, 4 days, it's gonna take 2 weeks, because you have to take into account all of these elements. Those time management skills I learned on the day job, and I even can apply it from other departments. Like I know in the marketing department how much it's gonna take maybe to launch a new campaign, or how much it's gonna take maybe to launch a specific initiative for finance, for example. So those things I learned in the day job, and I know how much it's gonna take then when I do that also in my business. It might be faster because we are a smaller team, but you still need to have an idea of how much time it's gonna take, and those skills you can learn in the day job for sure. The other thing that I learned was managing people. Like I got to the level in my day job where I was a manager and I had a team under me, and that was one of the biggest experience that I apply now to my business, because I learned how to manage people, I learned how to allocate job, I learned how to delegate tasks, how those things can be better, how to keep people accountable for their own things. And that I learned in the day job, believe it or not. And you don't need to be a manager to do that. Just be aware and look at what your manager does, because what he does is what you're gonna be doing when you have employees in the future. I think that's a great experience, because when you start with employee 1, employee 2 in your business, it's easier. And just because I had a team of 6, 7 people back in my day job, and that helped me out managing tasks and delegating, and like even developing them to become better employees and to grow with the company. For example, when I was in my day job, I had a team of six people, and I learned how to do one-on-one meetings, how to do performance reviews, how to allocate a task, how to do delegation. So all those skills that I one for one I apply them in my business too, and with our own employees. Anything around management, you're gonna use them. That's for sure. Every skill that you use around management, you're gonna use it when you launch your own business. And even if you're not a manager, you can learn it from your manager too, how he does those things, so you can apply it in the future in your business. The other thing in your day job is look around for mentors. Look around for people that can help you grow yourself, and look for things that you can grow, like being a better manager or being a better employee. Those things, those mentors will help you out once you move on to your own business, because those learnings you can take it with you in other places. And you can even try to grow yourself by learning a new thing, as well as specific courses that you can do while in your day job. Do those will help you out, those will help you grow and that growth it can translate in your business. For example, in my day job, I have one of my mentors was my manager, which was the director of the area, and he was very knowledgeable and very had a very deep expertise on how to manage projects and how to deal with politics. I learned a lot from him, and sometimes we just sat down in a meeting and I just asked questions and he explained how things work, and he explained how politics work and how you can drive change in a company. And those skills have helped me out in my business because I have an idea of how to navigate politics. I have an idea of how to drive change. If I'm selling the software to our customers, if I'm dealing with vendors, those skills you apply everywhere. So find someone in your company that you think has a very good understanding about things and that can be a mentor to you. Not even a mentor to launch your business, but to be a mentor inside your own career, inside your company. Because anything that you can learn from that person, you can also apply it in your business, which is what happened to me with that manager that I had. Like I learned a lot from him. So again, thanks for staying until the end. I hope these tips help you out in your group path and transition from your day job into your business. There is a lot to learn there. It's a mine of knowledge. So just try to take advantage of those. Thank you.